This morning we have one of perhaps Jesus' most difficult teachings. And then we have maybe the second of his most difficult teachings, and then the third, and then the fourth. He really packs a lot into this short passage, into the short pericope. And we can approach this by looking at the first reading. It's almost as if the first reading sets up the problem, and then Jesus, with these difficult teachings, gives us the solution. Here's the first reading. Who can know God's counsel, or who can conceive what the Lord intends? For the deliberations of mortals are timid, and unsure are our plans. For the corruptible body burdens the soul, and the earthen shelter weighs down the mind that has many concerns. If we're honest, this resonates with all of us. Our mind having many concerns, our corruptible body burdening the soul, our earthen shelter weighing us down. It's important to remember here that we were not created for this. We were created to live in intimacy, in perfect union with God. This is why we exist, to share in God's own blessed life. But we do live in this condition. This is the condition ever since the fall. Ever since our first parents, Adam and Eve, fell away from the Lord. We've inherited this. But the reality is that this is temporary. This is passing away. This earthen condition is passing away. It may seem like a long time. It may feel like a long time. The Psalms say 70 years or 80 for those who are strong. That's a long time to us. But from the perspective of eternity, that's just a blink of an eye. It will come and it will go. And then, God willing, we will live in the condition for which we've been created. That perfect unity with God. And this is true for our life in heaven. And this can also be true in a limited way, in a way of participation, not yet in fullness, but in a real way nonetheless. This can begin now. St. Catherine of Siena put it this way. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Therefore, every moment, every step of the way with Jesus is already heaven. Jesus says, I am the way. So to be walking on the way is already to be living in Jesus, to be sharing in his own blessed life. So this is accessible to us now. How? That's the question that Jesus answers in the gospel. And he gives us 4 parts to this answer. 4 things that are necessary conditions for us to begin living this life now. The first is, if anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, cannot be my disciple. So to hate one's father, mother, wife, children, brothers and sisters is the first part, the first condition. Notice that he doesn't say there are different stages of discipleship and everyone can live a comfortable life and those are the lower stages. Everyone can live a life of discipleship according to their own terms and those are the lower stages. And then those that really want to be master disciples, or those who really want to attain the highest levels of heaven, or those who really want to experience perfect freedom and joy and peace and happiness here on earth, those I give these instructions here. No. He makes this an absolute. In order to be a disciple of Jesus, this is one of the conditions that must be met. And of course, we'll unpack what he means by hate. What does it mean to hate one's father and mother? But we must start by being really clear that this is a non-negotiable. These two options are mutually exclusive. Either we hate father, mother, wife, children, brothers, sisters, or we're not disciples of Jesus. What does it mean to hate one's father, etc.? Obviously, it doesn't mean anything opposed to love. We think of hate today, we think that hatred is the polar opposite of love. And this is because we think that love is an emotion. We think if I feel warm feelings for someone, I have love for them. If I feel cold feelings towards them, I have hatred for them. This is not the biblical, the Christian, the traditional perspective of love or hatred. We can remind ourselves that Jesus certainly wants us to love God and love neighbor. He also wants us to honor father and mother. That's that fourth commandment, which is the bridge between the first three, to love the Lord our God with our whole mind, heart, soul, and strength, and the subsequent 7, to love our neighbor as ourselves. The hinge between those two is to honor our mother and father. And yes, this is part of the Christian life. We have to honor our mother and father. And when he was asked to summarize the law, he said, you are to love your neighbor as yourself. And of course, wife, children, brothers, and sisters are part of our neighbors. So yes, we're to love all of them. So what does it mean to hate them? Here's the key. We have to ask ourselves, what is at the center of my life? What is at the center of my heart? Who is enthroned in my heart? Who have I allowed to become the king of my life? It may be easy to dismiss it and to say, well, of course it's God. But if we're really honest, is it God or is it this relationship with someone else? Or is it my work? Or is it power, fame, glory, honor, pleasure? What is at the center? What gets me out of bed in the morning? To serve God? Okay, yes. And also to receive recognition. Yes, also to receive what I want from others. Jesus wants to tell us, I'm going to push all of that out. I'm going to cast away all of these false idols. I am going to come in and take my rightful chair, my rightful throne. I'm going to come in and become the king of your life, if you give me permission. This is, by the way, what The Lord of the Rings is about, those great stories. It ends with the return of the king. And yes, this happened in history when Jesus climbed onto his throne on the cross. And he's getting ready to do this here, as he's been forming the disciples, and now he's getting ready to enter Jerusalem and carry his cross and climb on his throne. This has happened in history, but now Jesus wants it to happen in us. And he knows that this cannot happen if someone else is taking that place. Whether that's father, mother, wife, children, brothers, or sisters. If someone else is at the center, we're going to try to have God be at the orbit around that center. We're going to try to make God help us towards the end of the center. Oh, okay, yes, I'll have God, and maybe God will help me in my relationships. And this is why I want God in my life. That does not work. God knows this because he created us. He made us for himself. He knows that that's not going to last. He knows that if anyone else is at the center, our hearts will become disordered and quickly fragmented and disintegrated. But when God is at the center, then the other relationships can orbit around that center. Now we're no longer going to father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters to get something from them for ourselves. Now we enter the realm of Christian love, of Christian friendship, of Christian communion. To say, I'm not here because of what you can give me and I can get from you, and I don't need to change you to give me something that I need. Rather, I am a son or a daughter of God. I receive everything I have, everything I need from God the Father. And God is a perfect Father. He provides everything for me. He protects me, he guides me, he counsels me, he fills me, he fulfills me. I need nothing from you. Everything I need, God provides for me. And now I'm free. And now we're free. And now we can enter into that relationship as broken, as fragile, as imperfect as it is. And we can give ourselves to them as imperfect as we are. And we can receive the love that they, out of their freedom, choose to give to us as incomplete as that love is. This will happen, this will flow in the measure by which God is at the center. This will happen if God is king. Those who do not choose this cannot be Jesus' disciples. And the same is true for one's own life. That's the second category. The same is true for carrying one's cross. If I think discipleship is on my own terms, the moment Jesus says something to me that's difficult, the moment I'm forced to make a decision, forced is not the right word here, the moment I'm in a position in which I have to make a hard decision in order to continue to follow Jesus, I crumble. All of a sudden, Jesus and the Christian life are not serving me. I better return to a place of comfort. No. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And the fourth is possessions. If any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions, in the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. We can own possessions, yes, and many people did take this literally. Many people did hear these words and say, okay, I'm going to give away, I'm going to sell, or even just give away, or even burn all of my possessions. St. Francis of Assisi perhaps most notably did this. He heard this very gospel, and he was in conflict with his father, and he heard here Jesus saying he has to hate his father. Again, not hate in the sense of wish ill or intentionally do harm to others, but prioritize God above others, even above one's own father, and renounce all his possessions. He renounced the wealth of his family that he was the rightful heir to. He renounced all of that, and even dramatically in the court scene, in the middle of the court, he renounced all of his clothes that he was wearing, and he left. And he went to be a disciple of Jesus. Many have done this. I'm not suggesting we do that last part, but many have done this, and they have followed Jesus in a very, very radical way. And all of the religious order, the brothers and sisters who have taken vows of poverty, have taken this in a literal way. And this is the first lesson here for anyone who is not yet bound to a family, because it would be imprudent for a father or mother of young children to do this because they have to provide for their children. But anyone who is not yet bound to that, anyone who is single in our current terms, anyone who is single can indeed do this. And I encourage you to at least consider it. At least go and visit a monastery or go and visit a convent. Because they are following Jesus in this radical way. And they're making the decision to renounce everything, to hate everyone, again, hate in this way here, to hate everyone in order for God to be at the center, in order for God to be king. Okay, everyone, in a sense, only those who are free can do that literally, but everyone is invited to do this in a spiritual way, in the level of detachment. We can own possessions and use them for good, use them for the alleviation of suffering, use them for the building of community, use them for the growth in virtue, use them to serve others. Yes. But anyone who is not willing to be detached from these possessions, maybe we can translate it that way, cannot be my disciple. Cannot be my disciple. Again, it's an absolute. These are mutually exclusive options. Because God knows that if we make anything else other than himself as the center, and in this case, if we make money or material possessions at the center, our hearts will quickly turn inwards. And we now grow in greed and pride and selfishness and all the rest. For the corruptible body burdens the soul, and the earthen shelter weighs down the mind that has many concerns. Do we want a way out of this? Out of this prison, out of this bondage, out of this cave? Do we want to live in the joy and the peace and the freedom of being sons and daughters of God? Of sharing in his own blessed life? It's not complicated. It's hard. It's very hard. It's the cross. But it's simple. We make it complicated. It's simple. The path is this: to prioritize God above father, mother, wife, and children, brothers and sisters, to prioritize God above one's own life, to carry one's own cross, and to renounce, to grow in detachment from all of one's possessions. This is the path for us. And as we do this, we sing with all the saints up and down the ages. In every age, O Lord, you have been our refuge.